Driving Test UK, the short notice driving test specialist.
Hello, my name is Shaq. This video is about how to impress a driving examiner. It was requested by one of our subscribers who was a bit concerned about the bad reviews at his local driving test centre. Now, driving test centres tend to have a much lower review rating than driving schools. The reason for that is that when a learner driver passes their driving test, they tend to give credit to their driving instructors. However, when a learner driver fails their driving test, they tend to criticise their driving examiner. So let's not worry about reviews at your local driving test centre, and let's focus on impressing the driving examiner. I'm sure you've heard of the saying, first impression is last impression. So turn up at the driving test centre on time, smartly dressed but casually dressed. You're in the waiting room waiting for the examiner. Whilst you're waiting, have your photocard provisional driving licence in your hand. Not in your pocket, not in your wallet, not in your handbag, but in your hand, ready to give to the examiner. The other thing you need to bear in mind while you're waiting is have your mobile phone switched off. Unless you intend to answer it during the driving test, in which case not only will you fail your whole test, but you'll end up with 6 penalty points on your licence and a £200 fine. So there you are, in the test centre, with your licence in your hand, mobile phone switched off, waiting for the examiner. The examiner enters the room and calls your name out. A lot of people will just sit there and say, yeah, that's me. Bear in mind, this is not a register in school. When the examiner calls your name out, stand up, greet the examiner with a nice friendly smile, give him a handshake. We all like people who smile. That's a saying, a smile goes a mile. So you've smiled at the examiner, you've shook his hands. The examiner will then ask to see your provisional photocard licence. Give the licence in the hand of the examiner. Pass the licence. Make sure the examiner holds it. Don't throw the licence on the table like some people do. Once the examiner's got your licence, he will then ask you to sign a declaration confirming, 1, that you've been in the UK, that you've lived in the UK for the past 6 months, and 2, that the vehicle you have bought for the driving test is insured for you to drive. There are 2 most important things when signing this declaration. Firstly, keep the signature in the box. Secondly, make sure you sign, even if your signature has changed, make sure you sign exactly the same as your provisional photocard licence. Because the examiner will compare the signature to what you've signed to that in your licence. And if it doesn't match, he'll only ask you to sign again. So, make sure the signature matches. Once everything's okay, the next thing the examiner is going to do is walk towards the car and ask you to read a number plate. So, if you need to wear glasses to read the number plate, make sure they're already on. There's no point having them in your handbag or leaving them in the car. If you fail to read the number plate, you will fail your whole driving test and the test will not proceed, and you will lose your fee for the driving test as well. So it's important that you get the number plate correct. In fact, get your eyesight tested a few weeks before the driving test. So if they're not up to standard, at least you get time to prepare and get the spectacles you need. After you've read the number plate, the examiner is going to ask you 2 show me, tell me questions. These questions are important, even though that you will not fail the driving test if you get the questions wrong. By answering them correctly, you're showing the examiner that you've bothered, that you've put the effort into studying the questions. After the show me tell me questions, the examiner is going to ask you to make yourself comfortable in the vehicle. Once you're in the vehicle, the best way to impress the driving examiner is to drive safely and confidently. The driving examiner wants to see you make progress when it's safe to do so. For example, if you're on a dual carriageway with a national speed limit, that's 70 miles an hour, just in case you didn't know. So you're on a dual carriageway with national speed limit. The driving examiner will expect you to make progress to at least 50 to 60 miles per hour. If there's a slow moving vehicle in front, use the MSM routine and overtake it and move back in at the first safe opportunity. Now, to really impress the driving examiner, even though they want to see you make progress, they want to see that you can show caution when it's necessary. Let me give you an example. You're on a country lane, a single carriageway, again with national speed limit, that's 60 miles per hour. But let's assume that you can only see 6 car lengths maximum in front. Even though it's a national speed limit 60 miles an hour, you cannot drive more than 30. Whatever happens, you should always be able to stop within the distance you can see to be clear. Bear these facts in your mind, and I'm sure the examiner will be impressed with you and your driving. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you for watching.